Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Poets Day Podcast, brought to you by ARDEX. My name is Gary. I'm going to be your host, and we are all about the industry, right? We're on season 2 right now. This is episode 2, season 2, and what we like to do is interview people from around the country that are in our industry, particularly floorers. And today we are joined by Carl from Your Choice Flooring. Carl, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
I spent 10 years in NZ, so when I say Carl, I feel like my twangy accent. I'm English, but I spent a lot of time over there. My accent comes out really bad when I say Carl. You know, I feel like I'm waking dead. Anyway, Carl, so Your Choice Flooring. We'll jump straight in. How did it all start? You know, did you start 12 years old? You know, hands bleeding, with your dad cracking the whip, or you know, how did it all start?
No, I was 15 and my brother's friend worked in a carpet shop at weekends and he was going to uni. So I kind of got past his job, if you know what I mean.
Right. So he owned it. He ran it.
No. He worked for a big carpet shop and he was just weekend sales. So because I knew him, that's where it was quite a well-paid job at the time for a kid on weekends. So
yeah. So you're flogging carpets to a consumer.
Yeah, I basically just fell into it really. So yeah.
And then so obviously that you started there, what did you say, 15, 16?
I was 15 and still at school. So I was supposed to be going to university. I was supposed to go to Nottingham Trent to be a teacher.
Supposed to be,
yeah. And then I deferred for a year.
You mean you couldn't be bothered? Yeah. To go travelling. Oh, yeah.
And then one of my friends got a girlfriend, so we wimped out and I didn't want to do it on my own. So I just carried on working at the carpet shop, basically. And then...
Oh, right. So you were supposed to go travelling, you're saying?
Yeah, I was supposed to go, and then it never really happened.
Your mate got a girlfriend and you were like, sweet, never see you never.
Yeah, exactly,
and all of a sudden, that's it. You worked, you know, you were full-time in a carpet shop.
Yeah, basically. And then a couple of times, a few of the fitters were struggling. So I'd go and help them out every now and again. And then just from there, I kind of saw what money was involved and I really enjoyed doing it. And they told me to go to another local company who had quite a good reputation. And then they had a lot of people that they train you properly there, basically. So I left and then went to work for that company. And then that's when I started my apprenticeship. So
right. And when you say you enjoy doing it, what do you mean? Like, because I've spoken to a whole bunch of floorers, right? And they say, once you kind of like, it's so strange to say, once you kind of got that buzz, once you've started, you know, laying carpet, people love it and they're in it for 50 years. Like, why is it? What is it? Well, specifically, what do you do at Your Choice? What's the?
Well, mate, I don't really do carpets anymore. I mainly do LVTs, or I'm mainly contract based. So like coved up vinyl, setting skirtings, things like that.
And this is residential or commercial?
Both, really. The LVT is a bit of a crossover, so obviously do that on both. But yeah, I dip my toes in both ponds, so to speak, really. So
yeah,
I enjoy.
You love doing it.
It's just a variation, and it's just.
What's your favorite art? What do you kind of like step back once you finished, hands on hips, and go, oh yeah, I've done a great job there. They're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's a pride in the work, I suppose. It's like, that's why I like doing LVTs. It's when you've done a really nice job, border work, and you can just stand back and look and you appreciate it. Where, you know, sometimes when you do other jobs, it's quite mundane. It's, you know, you're doing the same thing over and over. So you don't really
looking at a screen. Kind of, yeah.
You know, you always get the odd job where you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. And how did it progress? You know, you obviously worked for the carpet place, right? And then you went to work for another company. But how did? So, and you said you went into an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
What apprenticeship was that?
Basically, it was nothing. There wasn't really an MVQ in floor laying at that time, so it was just basically I went and worked with a guy called Simon, who was really good. I stayed with him for about a year, so he taught me the basics and got me pretty much nearly there. And then I went and worked with 2 other people for over the next 6 months.
Right.
Just so because everyone, like flooring, everyone has their own ways of doing things. And some people will only let you do the way they do it. So it's good that you go with different people, because then you pick up different techniques. And really, as long as the end product, you know, you're getting a good finish, as long as you can use your own methods in a way, because you can always,
as long as clients happy at the end of it, right? I mean, there are obviously ways of doing it. There's like the textbook way of doing it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, absolutely, you can put your own flair or your own. You might have learnt a shortcut, although it's not lesser of a job. It's your way of doing things, right?
Yeah, it's just different techniques. Because if you learn one thing from one person, then that's all you're ever going to know. Where if you pick up different things from different people, you might not use it, but it's always in the bank, just in
the
case.
Workarounds and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that's it. Right.
Then you obviously did the apprenticeship, you worked for other people, and then there was obviously a turning point where you were like, boom, your choice flooring. You know, why go from there? What was it always in your mind when you were a young lad going through the ranks that you were going to have your own firm, or was it just kind of like, oh, well, I might as well do it myself now?
Not really. I always wanted to stay at the same place where I started out, where they trained me. But then, obviously, I don't know. Life as you go through life, things change and your situations change. And I don't know. I just I enjoyed doing the more detailed stuff, and I'm probably a bit of too much of. I like everything to be just right. Where sometimes, and if someone else has say measured it or ordered it and it's not quite right, and then you've gone to do the job, it affects what you earn. Yeah. So in the stage, you end up getting fed up, and you think, well, actually, I might as well just go and do it for myself, because then if anything is wrong, it's your own fault. So
I know, that's right, and I know it's going to be done properly. How long ago did your choice flooring start? Like, were you like 20 and you did it, or
no? It's quite recent.
Obviously you're only 22 now, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, nearly double. Yeah, I'm 38, but no, I only started it just after the first lockdown, coming out of it, because
you started your choice flooring in March 2020.
Yeah.
Wow, really? It's funny. So many of the people that I've spoken to, they've absolutely done this, you know? So you're saying that you worked for other people up until then, and it was at that point that you then started your choice flooring. Why then? At what point there? Did you get laid off, or you were like, did you get
I was furloughed, and then I was wanting to come back, and then obviously we used to do quite a lot of NHS work at the place where I did work, and I was quite eager to go back. And I also had a lot of other people ringing me constantly, trying to get me to work. And it just got to the stage where
you were like, this is it. I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, well, we had like a big cancelled holiday. We were supposed to go to America, spend quite a lot of money in the bank. And I just thought everything kind of just aligned at the right time. And I thought, well, if I'm ever going to do it,
now's the time, right?
Yeah, so
that's a lot of people. Sadly, had a tough time over COVID, right? Or losing their jobs and no real prospects. And it seems that there are still, like the phoenix out of the flames. There's still, businesses coming out of this pandemic, right? They've actually thrived. And what I think, and again, speaking to other people, is that the people that are not spending this 3, 4, 5 grand on going on holiday, they're spending that 5 grand on doing up their house.
Yeah, well, obviously that's why everyone's so busy, because obviously a lot of people don't normally tend to save, but when you're locked in the house for 3 to 4 months and you can't spend that money or longer,
you're teaching your kids on the kitchen side table.
And all
your wife's there 10 hours a day.
Yeah, they've got money for the first time building up, and like I say, everyone's done the gardens, they've done the living rooms, they maybe had an extension, and they're all putting money back in that way, aren't they? But
so
whether it lasts,
what's the last? What is the last since you started? How has it been? Has it been just constantly busy, or have you seen dips, or is it seasonal?
It's been manic, to be honest with you. It's
great.
You're always firefighting, because you can't, whether you always rely on other people in our trades, whether the kitchen fitters got COVID or one of the kids has got COVID. So you're always having to manage things, but it's almost like a 3-day job to come out, but then all of a sudden you've got a 5-day job so you ain't got enough days in the week really to put all the work in. But
I mean, there's great problems to have, right?
It's a good. I'd rather have that problem than the other way around.
How have you managed that? Yeah, right. How have you managed that? Because obviously that's not what you've had to do beforehand, where a 3-day job is a 3-day job. Nothing really gets in the way. But now, absolutely, there is so many variables out there that it could, you could not have to be there. You're not allowed in for 10 days, right? Whether it be your own staff, or be people living in the house or in the commercial property. How have you dealt with that? Because you've not had to do that before, right? Well, actually, no. Thinking about it, you've only ever seen that because you were in the lockdown. You've not done that.
And it's you have to be more flexible, I suppose. It's like normally wouldn't like to work weekends, got young children and stuff like that, but unfortunately, they're the days where they kind of you have to hold them back. And if you need to work a weekend, you need to work a weekend, because ultimately you've got to get the work done, haven't you? So
that's right. You got to squeeze in those jobs.
Yeah, so normally I wouldn't book weekends in, but obviously now they're becoming like a saving grace, because obviously when things go over or you need to squeeze jobs in, then you've got that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. You're putting that ambulance at the bottom of the cliff to be able to cover any of these issues. Is there anything that you would kind of, tell your younger self or advise your younger self on trying to do something different or trying to do it better? Is there anything you would do earlier? Would you have started yourself earlier?
Yeah,
there's obviously a few like apprentices out there, right? Or there's a few juniors, or there's a guy, he's listening to this podcast sitting in the passenger seat of a van. He's like, "Yeah, mate, I can do it myself. I don't need you anymore, Dad. I can go on myself." Is there any advice you'd give to these guys to kind of like go out and actually do it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be scared of doing it by any means. But all I'd say is don't be afraid, because even if you move on somewhere else and you don't stick at it, as long as you take a lesson from it. It's like I've worked for probably 4 companies, and each one I've always learned something which has made me better today. Yeah, so you learn. I've been shop fitting all around the country, and you're working with other people, and you just got, whoever you're working in with, you just got to like watch them and learn. Every day's a school day, as so to say. So it's I'm still up for learning new tricks now. It's anyone who says they know everything. Well,
yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite part? What's your favorite part of the job? Getting paid.
Yeah, probably. No, I just the best bit. It's like anyone. I think I've always worked where I like people to appreciate work. So the best thing is like when you walk around with a customer at the end, and they're saying what a great job and how pleased they are, and that's the best bit.
It's the feedback, right?
Yeah, or something. It sounds really sad, but if you've done a really awkward cut and it goes in, and it goes in first time, you don't got to mess around with it. It's just
slides in. Like,
oh look, that's grown there. And you just have a bit of a crack with the people you're working with, and it's just little things like that. And
yeah, great. So obviously, you've been doing well over the past kind of 18 months. In fact, you started due to COVID, which is an amazing story. You've obviously been in and out of people's houses.
Yep.
You've probably seen a few things. And what we like to do to kind of end the episode is have a bit of a funny story. Obviously, this the episodes come out on a Friday, so really, the floorers listening to this, they got a beer in hand and about to go home, and they want to hear a funny story. What have you found? What have you noticed? What have you bumped into? What's happened on your travels when fitting carpets and fitting LVT and stuff? Is there anything that this is not necessarily a family show, but you can say anything,
right? Well, I just want to clarify. I want actually here on this one.
Okay. And you want anonymity,
but it happened at a place where I was working, and I do know all about it. Basically, they were fitting some carpets, and they found someone's stash of sexy stuff, should I say, under the bed.
Contraband. Yeah.
And one of the lads decided to put it all on with the stockings and the corset and
he found clothes and stuff, right? Not magazines. He found.
No, he got the clothes. He got the proper one. And wow. One of the lads was working on the staircase, and as he shouted to obviously looked up. And as he looked up, he see matey and all the gear, and he whipped him straight across the face, and you could see because he had like 3 hook marks.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then obviously I would have loved to have been there when a woman come home, because she must have known what that mark was on his face, but no one ever said out. But yeah,
she's seen that mark a few times, right?
I can imagine.
Brilliant.
But yeah, you do see all sorts, but I think that's probably the cleanest one I can probably say on the show. To be fair.
Brilliant, the cleanest one as well. Amazing. Hey, look, Carl, it's been great. Whereabouts is your choice flooring based? Like, whereabouts are you based, mate?
I'm in Lincoln.
Okay, cool. But I'm assuming you operate nationally as well?
Yeah.
Is there enough work in Lincoln to not expand out there?
I try and stay in Lincolnshire the best I can, but I do a lot of autism care homes. So we tend to go, with Birkenhead, Liverpool, Birmingham. So we go where the work is, really.
And there's loads of work about, right? It's a nice constant thing. It's not like you're competing with each other. Everybody's got enough work, I feel.
No, it's pretty good. And I work in with quite a lot of local other companies as well. So
right,
it's quite good because you can lean on each other, which is, I'd rather have people friends rather than competitors, if you know what I mean. So
absolutely, and that's kind of what I feel the industry is all about. You know, it is just a bunch of friends helping each other out. There is no real competitors as such. You know.
No, it's good. Like I say, because if you need something and you can't get it in time, I know I could ring 3 or 4 people.
They'll help you out.
I'll have it, and then they know that the same with me. And
absolutely,
if I need a hand, I know who I can ring, and they the same. So I think you need that sometimes. You know, it's
a great industry to be in. If people want to get in touch, how do they find you?
Just basically
website.
Yeah, I've got a website, and then or just
what's the web address?
It's obviously yourchoiceflooring.co.uk.
Cool, man. I mean, I'm sure people will visit if they need a bit of carpeting, bit of flooring done up in Lincoln. Mate, it's been great speaking to you. Listeners, thanks very much for tuning in. This has been the Poets Day Podcast, brought to you by ARDEX.co.uk. If you are a floorer, if you know a floorer that wants to be on the podcast, get him to dial in, get him to click on that email address that's in the description of the podcast, and we will get you on as our next guest. Thanks very much for tuning in. Cheers, Carl, and we will see you next time.